Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this regular Board of Education meeting to order. Today is Monday, September 27th. We're at Stratford High School and we have a quorum. Mrs. Corcoran is going to lead us in our prayer and pledge.
We beseech you, Almighty God, to bless this meeting of the Board of Education, so guide and rule over our hearts and minds that all our deliberations and decisions may be in accordance with your will and lead to the advancement and welfare of the community of Stratford whom we serve. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, for coming this evening. Dr. Ascendi is going to start us with our recognition.
Yes, good evening, everybody, and happy Monday. It is my distinct honor to call up to the podium the Stratford Public Schools 2020-21 Teacher of the Year from Nichols Elementary School, Miss Megan Bova. I'm going to read a quick bio here on Ms. Bova. Megan Bova is a tremendously caring, skilled, professional, collaborative social worker demonstrating a passion for supporting students' comprehensive needs, success related in areas of academics, behavior, and social skills. She quickly develops relationships with students, families, and staff. Mrs. Bova embraces all students and values them for who they are. She's committed to providing students with a responsive and restorative learning environment where they can grow and develop skills that will enable them to be successful in all settings. A strong proponent for SEL, during the pandemic she created initiatives in online spaces for students, staff, and families to support them for self-care and self-management strategies. Mrs. Bova has led SEL programs including Ruler, Responsive Classroom, and Restorative Practices, as well as numerous climate initiatives. Teachers frequently consult with her for strategies tied to student conduct, classroom environment changes, mindfulness strategies, cool-down strategies, and movement break strategies. Ms. Bova's primary personal and professional goal is to inspire and empower students to develop into their best selves. Please join me in recognizing Ms. Megan Bova, the 2020-21 Stratford Public Schools Teacher of the Year. Another round of applause for Ms. Bova. I would like to invite Ms. Bova to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ascendi. Thank you to the Board of Education members. Thank you to the Teacher Evaluation Committee for the announcement tonight. Thank you so much to my Nichols family, Diana Gloria, Lori Blasey, all my team. I want to thank my students, too, who support me, my family, my husband, and my two boys. So thank you so much.
What's the line? Can't hide that Nichols pride? Is that what it is? I've heard that a bunch over the last month, and trying to make sure I left that in the memory. Again, congratulations, Mrs. Bova.
We are now going to move into the public speaker session of this evening. We have one speaker tonight, Ms. Cunliffe. When you come up, just state your name and address, and then we'll put a timer on for 3 minutes, so when you hear the beep, you'll know your time is up.
I wanted to talk about the Yale University study being done at middle
I'm
school.
so sorry. Sorry. Can't hear you that well.
There we go. I wanted to talk about the Yale study being conducted in the middle school to gather information on the kids' emotions. Parents received an email asking them to opt out by September 15th if they do not want their kids to participate. Rather than opting out, I think parents should be asked to opt in. Many parents never open up the email, and I think it's wrong to assume that you have parental consent when no form was ever signed by a parent. So I kind of wanted to know why we're even doing anything like that, and what the incentive for the schools to have Yale be there. Also, many of my parents did not know that there was a Board of Ed meeting tonight, and I know we get 1 million emails from schools. Can that be emailed out ahead of time to everybody? No. Thank you.
Just as a point of order, we typically don't respond in meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item D, Student Representatives Report. Dr. Sunday will be introducing our 2 new student reps for this year.
Yes, this is something I'm always excited about, is getting a chance to introduce some of our exemplary students who we want all other students to emulate. These 2 students are one from Bunnell and one from Stratford High. First, I will introduce Mr. Rayhan Magedu, who is a senior at BHS. And I'll say this, I had a chance to review some of the bios and some of the things that, these 2 young individuals are involved in and what they've accomplished. And this is stuff that every parent and every teacher should be proud of. So, case in point, Rayhan is currently ranked in the top 10 in his class with an overall GPA of 4.16. When I was your age, I was hoping I would have numbers like that, so keep up the good work. Lives with his mom, Shay Nagedu, and older brother Jamil, who is also a graduate of the class of 2021, and younger sister Sarah, who is at Flood Middle School. He was a participant in 2021 UConn Summer Lead Program. He was also a 2021 recipient of the Rensselaer Mathematics and Science Medal. He's a member of our National Honor Society, National Math Honor Society, National Science Honor Society, and is planning on studying mechanical engineering next fall. He's a talented musician, is the president of the Bunnell High School Band. He's a member of student government, also a Link Crew ambassador, and he's a member of the Kingdom of Life Church. So please put your hands together as we introduce Rayhan.
Good evening. Thank you, everyone. As he said, my name is Rayhan Nagedu. I am a senior at Bunnell High School. And I just wanted to say thank you very much for the opportunity to serve in this capacity. So this year, Bunnell welcomed 3 new administrators, Dr. Katie Graff as our interim principal, Mr. John Ramos as our interim assistant principal, and Mrs. Tamina Khan as the new science department head. Dr. Graff, Mr. Ramos, and Mrs. Khan are all settling into their new roles at Bunnell, and we're off to a great start this year. So far this year, we have welcomed over 160 new students. And to help with their ease into the school, Link Crew students have been paired with each of them to help with their transition, give them a tour around the school, things like that. And I had the pleasure of meeting a couple of them, and it appears that their transition is going well. I can say that my friends and I are very happy to be back in class with our teachers and peers. The environments just can't be replicated in any other way, so thank you all for what you're doing to help that happen. And as a school, we're doing everything we can so that we can stay in school and continue with that amazing environment. So this year, our administration has been focusing on 2 things. Number 1, providing a safe and caring and welcoming environment inclusive of all students and families. And 2, recommitting ourselves to the high standards of academic excellence. So if you walk around our school, these are things that you will find evidence of coming into fruition. So beginning in late August, We had our freshman orientation with a record-breaking attendance under the leadership of the great social studies teacher, Ms. Scaramaccia. Athletics, band, and all other extracurricular activities are all up and running, which has brought a sense of normalcy back into our school year. Our athletic programs are off to a solid start. Our boys varsity soccer team just beat our crosstown rival Stratford High over the weekend 2-0. Our varsity football team also beat Joe Barlow on Friday 37-19, bringing their record to 2-1. So if you're looking for something to do throughout this week, come and support our boys varsity soccer team on their senior night tomorrow versus Immaculate at 6 p.m. You can also catch our girls varsity at home this Wednesday versus Bethel, girls soccer versus Colby Cathedral on Thursday, girls swimming on Friday at Flood, and football and dance team senior night at home versus Hill House this Friday. And our award-winning marching band is also off to a great start. We've had 2 competitions, one in Bethel and one in New Milford over this past weekend. And our next competition will be at Brian McMahon High School in Norwalk, and our cavalcade will take place Saturday, October 23rd at Bunnell. So come and support us. Thank you. And going into extracurricular activities, many students are participating in various clubs that have just started. For example, last week, GSA, skating, and French Club have all met in person for the first time in over a year. The Be Kind Club is also planning various activities this Friday in collaboration with the Asset team, so they'll be chalking up the sidewalks with positive messages of affirmation. And several new student-led leadership groups have also emerged this year, including Women's Empowerment Club and the Men of Color Club. Both of these groups, in addition to their work with Inspire Ed, will be continuing to support student voice and impacting a positive change in our communities. So this year, Bunnell is offering 18 AP/ECE courses, 8 of which are specifically ECE, and I'm taking AP Calc AB, AP English Literature, AP Physics Mechanics, and AP Psychology. And we are already working hard towards mastering the skills necessary to be successful on those exams and finding ways to earn ECE credit. And next week, our staff will be recognizing the 30 students who earned the distinction of an AP Scholar over the summer as a result of their 2021 AP scores. And I'm happy to report that I'm one of those students, so thank you to all my teachers who helped me with that. And with our 2 new elective courses at the school, Conversations of Race and Black and Latino Studies, they're receiving excellent feedback from students who are enrolled. Teachers have been engaged in extensive professional development, and they're working hard with the students to find effective ways to continue these classes. In addition to AP, ECE, and new courses, Bunnell is offering 3 courses that are tied with Housatonic, which is, again, another great opportunity for students to earn college credit. And parents will be able to learn about these things and all of their students' courses at the virtual open house on Thursday, September 30th. And perhaps the biggest news that I'm sure many of us already know is that Walt Disney is coming to film a movie at our school. This movie is called Buckets, and it is a coming-of-age story following an Asian American teenager and basketball fanatic named Chang. He is a member of his school's marching band, and in his efforts to impress a new girl in the band, Chang bets his school rival and captain of the basketball team that he can dunk a basketball in 12 weeks. So along the way, he learns a lot about himself, his friends, and his family. So filming will take place in late October. And finally, Bunnell would like to thank Dr. Osunde, Mayor Hoydig, Mrs. Mangini, and Dr. Frazier, and all the members of the board for supporting this endeavor. And last but certainly not least, we would like to thank our band director, Mr. Miller, for all the behind-the-scenes work he did to make this dream come true. And thank you again to everyone for this opportunity, and thank you for listening to the wonderful things happening at Bunnell. Thank you.
Impressive in so many ways. Ray, you just shared a whole bunch of amazing things, right? Got one request of you, as you head back to Bunnell. Tell your friends, no more TikTok challenge, all right? All right, very good. It gives me a great pleasure to introduce our Stratford High School student rep, okay? I had a chance to meet this young lady this summer. She was in the building. You probably see her at a couple of different events helping and supporting. Rebecca DiPietro is ranked as one of the top students in her class. She is a National Honor Society, National Math Honor Society, and National Science Honor Society member. She is a self-taught expert and master of the Stratford High School audio and video equipment. She is also a member of the Stratford High School Drama Club, last year's Halo Awards, Best Prop Design and Management. She is an individual who leads by example and is highly respected by Stratford High School staff and certainly the student body. Please put your hands together for Rebecca DePietro.
I want to thank the Board of Education and Dr. Sunday for the opportunity to talk with you monthly about the happenings at Stratford High School. I also want to welcome Dr. Sunday to Stratford and wish you the best from the Stratford High School community. As you know, my name is Rebecca and I'm a senior at Stratford High School, part of various clubs ranging from Science National Honor Society to Debate Club. Some of my favorite extracurriculars are being the production stage manager for the Drama Society, secretary for the class of 2022, secretary for the National Honor Society, and being part of Link Group. Recently, I have been awarded my Gold Award for Girl Scouts where the focus of my project was kindness. I'm also interning with a lawyer to gain more knowledge about the legal field, as I aspire to one day practice law. My hope is to initially study political science and electrical engineering as I work towards a law degree and ultimately to become a patent attorney. Some schools I'm interested in are American University, Boston University, Fordham, Lehigh, and Yale. Yale is my first choice. It is great to have Stratford High School full of students again after the past 18 months. It feels great to have our classes and hallways full of students. Students are able to utilize all the brand new state-of-the-art technology Stratford High has to offer. This year began as Link Crew welcomed the freshman class to Stratford High on Friday, August 27th. Starting with interactive whole group activities, our outstanding group of juniors and seniors got the new Red Devils up and involved. After these whole group activities, our Link Crew leaders gathered the freshmen into smaller groups to break out into classrooms for quality discussion and team bonding exercises. The freshmen were able to meet new people and ask any questions they had about high school. The day ended with a tour of the entire building to ease the new students into being able to successfully navigate the new building. It was a successful day where everyone involved was able to have fun and support the class of 2025. Some clubs that have been up and running again include the Gay Street Alliance, Select Choir, Jazz Band, the Science National Honor Society, National Honor Society, and Math Club will be starting this week. These clubs provide a place for students to be active in their school community, make new friends, and truly take advantage of everything Stratford High has to offer. The Stratford High Music Drama Society has begun rehearsals for this year's fall play, The Mousetrap by Agatha Christie. They are beyond grateful and excited to be back in the theater. A Stratford High School student, Avita Shine, took her commitment and dedication to a new level. She constructed 2 model airplanes as an exhibit for the Stratford Veteran Museum. In total, she spent 77 hours working on this project. On Friday, September 17th, prior to our first home football game, Mr. Del Piano and Mr. D'Angelo held a ceremony to retire Stratford High School football number 53 in honor of Thomas T.J. Corey. TJ graduated Stratford High School in 1996 and truly understood the importance of putting others before himself. Fall sports are underway and teams are battling through their schedules, and some of the our highlights include that our girls volleyball team is currently 4-0. Our boys soccer is currently 1-4-1. Girls soccer is 2-3. Girls swim is looking for their first win. Boys golf has 1 win on the season. And our football team has their first win of the season last Friday against Jonathan Law, and our team is 1-2. Both boys and girls cross country have been very competitive so far this season. They are 1-4. Additionally, our new football coach and school counselor, Nate Tyler, has started an after-school study hall for our student athletes to help them navigate our return to in-person learning and a full football schedule. Additionally, on October 2nd, Stratford Public Schools are holding a student-only vaccination clinic. This will be held at Flood Middle School from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and it would be great to see all eligible students become vaccinated. Thank you.
If we can, I would like to ask our 2 student reps to maybe stand up here for a quick picture, maybe with the backdrop in front of our board members. Right there. I realized they're both wearing school colors too.
gotta go all the way to the back of the auditorium.
All right, another round of applause, please. Thank you very much, both of you.
Great, thank you. It's great to have our student reps back, love hearing about what's happening at the high school. Moving on to the administrative executive report, starting with Dr. Sunday's superintendent's executive summary report, please.
Sure, thank you, Chairwoman Del Dunny. I actually going to need a little bit of time here. I have a good amount to cover. First, I would like to publicly say thank you and recognize our new staff. They are approaching their first month as a member of our professional community, and I remember when they were in for their new teacher orientation, one of the things that I shared with them was an appreciation and thanking them for choosing Stratford Public Schools. So I'm going to start, I'm going to go through a list of names here by schools. At Bunnell with Dr. Graff and her team, Pavel Martinez, Edmund Rogers, Nicholas Da Silva, Andrew DaCosta, Kristen Sykes. At Chapel with Dr. Armstead, Amber Zargos, Catherine Oliver. At Flood with Principal Grigas, Colleen Eisberg, Megan Garner, Michael Coito. At Johnson House with Principal Cicero, Ashley Rivas, Ashley Smith, Violet McNary. At Lordship with Kate Murphy, Felicia Palmer, Jasmine Osborne, Amanda Ocasio. At Nichols with the soon-to-be Dr. Diolio, right? Kimberly Rose, Maureen Mikos. Second Hill Lane with Dan Hicks, Sarah Lee, and Sarah Sharagenheim. Stratford High School with Principal Del Piano, Nate Tyler. Again, publicly congratulations on that win. Catherine Lance, Robin Monroe, Craig Blomquist. At Wilcoxon with Principal Burady, Heba Kilo, Mark Mangan. And at Worcester with Principal Darcy, as well as Mrs. Singletary, Martin Pye, Danielle Julius, Mallory Rochford, and Anita Basilio. So a round of applause for our new additions. For me, it's been, I recognize over the next couple of weeks, I would be in my role for almost 100 days. And it's a milestone for me, but I've also been blessed to be able to sit back and really analyze our school community, our organization. And I have to say, after this first month, after our kids came back, I really want to take a moment to give praise to my cabinet, because when I first arrived, I sat with them. And I sat with them, we had a very open and honest conversation about the work that laid in front of us. And they have stepped up to the plate, and they have exceeded my expectations. And I've shared with them that the aim is that this work continues to move in this direction, keeping our kids and our staff first. I would also like to recognize our school administrators. So much of the pandemic, I think, for rightful reasons, people have spoken about everybody else but leaders, school leaders. And I know amongst superintendents, we're having conversations about the people who largely don't get a break, and that's administrators. So I've had the chance to work closely with Dr. Graff, Principal Del Piano, both our middle school principals, and our elementary principals, and I can't thank them enough for starting the year the way they did and quickly responding to addressing challenges and issues that might have popped up after a year of really a hybrid design. I've also watched our teachers. I've had a chance to visit schools, and I don't know, and I'm not biased because I'm the superintendent of Stratford Public Schools, but I don't know if I've seen the level of commitment in this way, from this lens. There's a lot of work in front of us, but the passion that people come into our buildings with is by far the most essential ingredient for improvement. And then last, I'd like to extend my appreciation to my teachers union leadership team, okay? We have very focused conversations. And what I do like about the way the dynamic of this conversation is going is that even though we may not agree on everything, most of the conversations are largely centered on solutions, okay? And if this work is going to continue, that has to be the driver of all of our conversations, is solutions. So again, my appreciation to our entire professional community, starting from the cabinet level, all the way to our custodians who help make sure our buildings are safe. Next, I would like to take a moment. I know I communicated with the board, and I shared with you that Brian Darcy received an opportunity to become a principal next door in Milford. So I want to publicly wish him congratulations and wish him well. We believe he's going to do dynamic work there, and he should, because he's coming from Stratford. But he's a guy who just, as everybody knows here, has had a transformative impact on our school. So the expectation is that he'll do the same as he continues to move up the ladder. After all, he is a Stratford guy. I spoke about Coach Tyler. Again, congratulations and many more W's in your future. Continue to develop our young athletes and teach them right. Next, I want to touch a little bit on the executive orders that are currently existing right now. I know everybody, the whole state's watching to see what the governor does. And after the governor makes a decision, it'll inform the way we go about making our decision here at the board level. The vaccination mandate is something that gave a lot of superintendents, debatably, some sleepless nights. But I have been publicly, and I'll say this again, very impressed with our professional community here. As I've shared with you, with the board through frequent communication, our numbers are high, our vaccination numbers are high. We have something like 92% of our staff who have reported that they're fully vaccinated. That positions us as the school organization to ensure that our schools are as safe as possible. For those people who opted for exemptions or for weekly testing, our commitment, and Courtney Brown, through her office, has been working what seems to be like 18 to 20 hours a day. She's been working to make sure that process is as manageable for all of our colleagues. Our aim, regardless of what the mandate says, is to make sure that people who come to work can access employment, because our commitment is to do what's right for our kids here in Stratford. So I want to commend Courtney Brown and her team just for the work they've done and the communication that they provide to our colleagues in every bargaining unit that we have. Next, you heard a few of our student reps mention this exciting opportunity around the student vaccination clinic. Kim Velasquez has worked and partnered with Griffin Health. We will be offering a vaccination clinic at Flood Middle School this weekend, okay? So what we're looking to do is market and spread this. We want as many of our students to attend and get vaccinated for multiple reasons. It benefits our kids who are eligible to get vaccinated. In the event that they are exposed to a positive case, as long as they're not symptomatic or positive themselves, they'll be able to remain engaged in school. One of the things that was worth noting is that at one point, Stratford as a community, and certainly in that age demographic, we had one of the lowest vaccination rates. So for cautious reasons, we had to put a pause on different opportunities that might potentially put kids in spaces where, you know, if they're not vaccinated, could knock them out. For example, field trips, okay? So as we continue to go through this process, we want to make sure that kids get that comprehensive experience academically through the year. And when we get to a point where I feel comfortable about the number of vaccinated students, I'm going to sit down with our medical experts to figure out the right course to proceed in. Last, I want to touch on the opportunities we've created to connect with our families. I sent an email out last week, over the weekend, to our families. We're going to be hosting a series of town hall meetings where we get a chance to sit down with our families. This is specifically for me to hear from our families. This is really the first structured opportunity. And families are going to be required to register. Obviously, we can't open it up to the entire community for health and safety reasons. But as we check our numbers at this point in time, we are nearing numbers that are close to that 80 reserved spaces. So we want to encourage families to come out. We want to hear your voice. Hearing your voice from a leadership standpoint will help inform the way we go about making decisions across our entire organization. So we're looking forward to that opportunity. And that is it for the Superintendent's Executive Report.
Thank you, Dr. Sunday. Any questions from board members for Dr. Sunday on his report? Seeing none? Ms.
Oh.
Mangini?
That was a good amount. I promise it'll be short in the future.
Ms. Mangini, the Chief Operating Officer report, please.
Sure. And mine should be pretty short. Some of it we did cover in the Finance Committee meeting. The year-end report for fiscal year 21 was shared with the board. And we did note that the unaudited balance of $875,531 was a result of the subsequent school closures with savings in the areas of salaries, substitutes, and transportation accounts. The board also received a year-to-date report for fiscal year 22, noting that it is quite early in the fiscal year as it reflected costs through August 31st. But we are watching some of the more vulnerable areas of the budget very closely at this time, and we anticipate having a much more detailed report for the board at the next meeting. We did note, however, that we do anticipate a deficit in the tuition accounts, and much of that is a result of increased numbers in our outplay special ed students. So as a result of this, we do expect an increase to coincide with the excess cost grant that the town receives. And we do hope to discuss this issue along with funding of the Education Reserve Fund with the town in the near future. With regard to food service, we noted that as a follow-up to an inquiry at last month's meeting, we clarified that the Connecticut State Department of Education guidance indicates that remote learning is not an option at this time, and therefore feels that meal needs are available at school. Accordingly, the practice of picking up meals to cover missing in-school days is no longer necessary or allowed. But we did note that family of students that are quarantined will be allowed to pick up meals during regular lunchtimes. Also, the roof replacement projects that were planned for Chapel Elementary School and Worcester Middle School have been put on hold until the end of the school year. They weren't really ready to begin until the fall, and in conversations with Dr. Sunday, we decided that there would be probably way too much disruption caused by the noise during the school day, along with some concerns with workers and materials on site. So the plan is to start in June of 2022. And lastly, we were advised that the ESSER grant still has not yet been approved, noting that the state has requested additional information. We continue to provide it, and we're hopeful that we will in fact get approval within the next week or two. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mangini. Any questions for Ms. Mangini from board members on her report? The Assistant Superintendent's Report, Dr. Gato.
Thank you very much. I'm passing out a sheet of paper that just outlines some of the information that I'm going to share with you. I don't know how many of you can remember back approximately 1 year ago, but the conversation that I'd like to have with you right now is similar to the one that we had a year ago. State Department of Education, in recognition of the challenges of returning back to school in person, in looking to create a balanced approach to this beginning of the school year, is again offering to districts flexibilities in their education evaluation program. So this may look very similar to you because it is almost exactly the same as what we spoke about last year. The intent is to support educator and student growth and improvement, and districts that opt to adopt these flexibilities, which I'll outline for you in a minute, must do so through the mutual agreement process with our professional development and evaluation committee of the district, and the local Board of Education. If we do decide to take on these flexibilities, we must adopt them in their entirety for the school year. And if we do not adopt the flexibilities, then we will return to the teacher evaluation program that Stratford put in place 2 years ago now. Or actually, the last time we used that exact plan was 2 years ago. Last year, we did adopt the flexibilities as a school district. The things that were similar to last year are the things I'm going to talk about tonight and suggest to you. And the things that are different is that this year there will be summative ratings, regardless of which plan you decide to go with. The reason why I'm bringing it to the board tonight for action is because we have to let the state know by October 1st if we are going to adopt the flexibilities. So what you have in front of you is one piece of paper. There are two parts to the Educator Evaluation program. There's the teacher part and the administrator part. And what you have in front of you is a comparison between our district plan and what the state is recommending or offering as flexibilities. So the Stratford model for teachers, for first and second year teachers, requires 3 informal in-class observations, reviews of practice, and informal observations additional at the evaluator's discretion. Then teachers who have been teaching for more than 2 years have a formal observation once every 3 years, a minimum of 1 review of practice, and a minimum of 3 informal observations. The flexibilities that are offered by the State Department of Ed is for first and second year teachers is a minimum of 3 informal observations and a minimum of 1 review of practice. For teachers who have taught more than 2 years, a minimum of 2 informal observations and a minimum of 1 review of practice. So essentially what you see is that there's really an effort to do more informal observations rather than formal observations. That allows people to have more conversations, receive more feedback, and it's generally a little bit less formal, but teachers receive free feedback for all of the observations that are made. The next part of this is the student learning objective, or the SLO. So the Stratford model has a minimum of 1 SLO with a minimum of 2 indicators of student performance and progress for that student learning outcome. And this particular, the indicators of student performance and progress have to be mutually agreed upon between the teacher and evaluator. That's in the Stratford model. The flexibilities require a minimum of 1 SLO with 2 indicators of student performance and progress, which is very similar. But you can see that the areas of the SLO, or student learning objective, are varied here. So there could be an SLO that refers to social emotional learning, student engagement, cultural responsiveness, and academic achievement. So those are some areas that teachers and principals or evaluators can look at as possibilities for the school year goals. The indicators are the implementation of school-wide or individual strategies mutually agreed upon between the teacher and evaluator. So those are the teacher flexibilities. On the back, we have the administrator flexibilities. The Stratford model, it's very, very similar. The Stratford model, for those new to the profession, their role in the district, there's a minimum of 4 site visits and a minimum of 3 artifact reviews. The flexibilities for the same category of administrators, a minimum of 3 site visits and 2 artifact reviews. And then for those who have been in their role or in the district 2 or more years as an administrator, a minimum of 2 site visits in the Stratford model and a minimum of 3 artifact reviews. For those who have been here for more than 2 years, according to the state flexibilities, there would be a minimum of 2 site visits, again, similar, but 1 artifact review. So if you look at the final slide that I have here, the little section that I have here for the administrator flexibilities, all administrators are still required to adopt a minimum of 2 student learning objectives, including but not limited to health, safety, social and emotional well-being of staff and students, ensuring equity for most vulnerable students and families, master-based learning, or developing systemic approaches to incorporating social and emotional practices into teaching and learning process. So it's very similar and almost complementary or reflective of what the teacher focus possibilities are or options are. And again, these SLOs can be district-wide, with a district-wide focus, or individual strategies and mutually agreed upon between the administrator and the evaluator. So I think it was September 18th, I think, when the PDEC, our Professional Development Committee, met. Oh, no, it was the 15th, excuse me. And after discussion, the PDEC voted, and the vote was to agree to accept the flexibilities for this school year. So now it's up to the board to make that decision whether or not, and so then the two actions would advise us in terms of what direction we're going. So further in the agenda is the call for your action.
Any questions for Dr. Gita? Janice?
Okay, thank you. Dr. Gita, could you tell us if the indicators on the second slide, were those chosen by the state, or are we given an option to insert the ones we want?
Well, these were the ones that were part of the flexibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So they were chosen by the state?
Yes.
Okay, and same for the fourth slide for administrators?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to, get a sense of the alignment, right, between what we're prioritizing and what is coming down from the state. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? I'll make a motion.
It's further in the agenda.
Oh, it's further in the agenda.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's number
okay.
7.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no other questions, thank you, Dr. Gita. Any more for your report, or?
No, that's it.
Great. Moving on to consent agenda. I can take both items at the same time. I'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes and the personnel document.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Pagella,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Cupie. Any discussion? Can I just do all in favor? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Items for action, budget transfers. I'll entertain a motion to approve the budget transfer that was sent over from the Finance Committee. Budget transfer number 1, create 2 new accounts to separate out dues and fees by high school. This is to account for these expenses individually and to have greater reporting and preview capabilities. Transfer the approved budget amounts to the new individual accounts, $16,055 to VHS and $3,000 to Stratford.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Cupie.
Second.
Second by Ms. Wiltsey. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes 7-0. The next item for action is the proposed curriculum. I'll entertain a motion. These were passed forward with favorable recommendation from the curriculum committee. I'll entertain a motion to accept conversations on race, visualizing mathematics, and physical science.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Cupie,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Corcoran. Any discussion?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
I guess this would be for committee chairs. First of all, I'd like to just commend the developers of all of this phenomenal curriculum. But the conversations on race, if I'm reading it correctly, Supplemental resources were amazing. I tapped into a few of them, thank you. This is a half-year course, is that correct?
That's correct.
What I'm reading is only Unit 1. Where is the remaining information on that course?
There does, oh goodness gracious, sorry guys. There does seem to be part of that curriculum missing from our large agenda because I have a more substantial listing of the different units. So I think it just might be an incomplete inclusion in our agenda this month. I can share it with you if you'd like. I have it here somewhere.
Is that something that the committee could provide to the board in entirety before we move forward with this? I'm asking because I'm not typically used to seeing only one unit when we get curriculum in front of us, but I don't know how the board is.
I feel like past practice, they haven't included the entire curriculum.
Do we have a subject?
We have been putting a little bit.
I think it's important. I don't know if that requires a vote, but it's just something I'd like to see.
Do you want, so are you recommending to table the one? But I don't even know if the other two full curriculum are in there.
If they're not separate, then I don't know. That seems to be the only one.
Teresa, are these usually uploaded with curriculum minutes? Right, I just meant in terms of when we upload the minutes from the curriculum. We don't attach them, okay.
So if you follow like the physical science, we've got a semester at glance. Can we get something like that, just seeing what the other weeks include?
I have a hard copy of the full course right here, if you'd like to take a quick peruse of it. But it has listed the second unit and third unit, the mid-unit assessment, and so on.
So the first one is effective communication and influence on perspective. What are the other two?
Historical roots of racial inequality is a 5-week unit. And then there is current and future relations, which is another 4 to 5 weeks.
Thank you for having that. Thank you for that information. That's all I have.
Any other questions? Seeing none, there is a motion on the floor to pass forward these 3 curricula with a favorable recommendation in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, passes 7-0. Item 5, proposed tuition rates for school year 2021 to 2022. I'll entertain a motion to approve the tuition rates. Motion made by Mrs. Wiltsey.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. DiLorenzo. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 7-0. Item 6, proposed policies for first read status only. So we are voting to approve the first read. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the first read for the physical exercise and discipline of students in section 504, and the grading policy.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Cupie,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Fagella. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 7-0. And lastly, the board adoption of the flexibility option, the teacher evaluation program that Dr. Gata spoke to. Entertain a motion to approve the flexibility option.
So moved.
Motion made by Mrs. Wiltsey.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. DiLorenzo. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 7-0. Tabled items?
I'd like to make a motion to take residency verification off.
Second.
Motion made by Mrs. Wiltie, seconded by Ms. Cupie, if I heard correctly.
Corcoran.
Corcoran, I'm sorry, I'm just, that's fine, I feel like my neck's gonna be like this.
I'd just like to make a request for the October board meeting report, to have Mr. Imbro here for the presentation on the slide.
Noted.
And I'll make a motion to adjourn at 16.
Second.
Second, great. Okay. Committee assignments reports. Curriculum committee, would like to say a few words on that?
Sure.
Great, thank you.
Why do you do this to me? So as you all saw, we recommended favorably 3 curriculum to the board. That was just passed a moment ago. We were updated earlier by Mr. Clemmy as well that the Portrait of a Graduate committee received a second grant, which is allowing them to move on to the next phase of that program. So we're super excited about that. I think that's all the updates that we have. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cupie. Mrs. Rhodia, did you want to speak to finance?
We had our meeting just before this board meeting tonight, and we voted to move to the board, and it was voted on about the 2 new accounts to separate due for dues and fees at the high school level.
Thank you, Mrs. Rhodia. School planning, I believe, has a meeting pending, correct, Mr. Padella?
Well, we had a meeting scheduled for beginning of October. That meeting is going to be canceled because we are waiting for a report from the architects, Snyder Associates, on a facilities assessment of our school buildings. That is the entire building, the ventilation, electrical, etc. Mr. Snyder said that that report will not be ready now till the end of October. So we are going to schedule a meeting for, I believe, November 4th. It's a Thursday. That information will be emailed out to the committee members.
Thank you. The liaison BOE committee was canceled. I believe there's one scheduled now for this Wednesday evening in Town Hall. And policy review, Ms. Rhodia.
We had our first meeting with Dr. Sunday on the policy review, and we're working on several different policies that will be coming before you in addition to the one from tonight.
I will entertain a motion to go into executive session with board members and Dr. Sunday.
So moved.
Discuss a pending legal matter. Ms. Cupie?
Andrea.
Seconded by Mrs. Wiltie. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 7-0. If we could ask everyone to leave the auditorium, please, except for the board members and Dr. Sunday. Coming back in from executive session at 8:19. There's no action or discussion on this matter at this time. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:19.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion made by Mrs. Wiltie, seconded by Mrs. Rhodia. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 7-0. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.